Nobody expected Charleston White to say what he said about J. Prince Jr., and nobody expected what happened next. Because what started as another controversial Charleston White rant has now turned into one of the wildest stories social media has seen in weeks. And depending on who you ask, it may have gone way deeper than anyone realized. Because shortly after Charleston White made explosive comments aimed at J. Prince Jr., reports and rumors started spreading online about an incident that left fans completely stunned. And once the internet got hold of it, everything spiraled. Fans are shocked. Social media is going crazy. People are divided over whether this was just another bizarre Charleston White moment, or whether something much bigger may have happened behind the scenes. Some people think the timing is too suspicious to ignore. Others believe the internet is connecting unrelated events and turning chaos into conspiracy. But then came the reactions. People started reposting old Charleston White clips. Fans began revisiting his history of saying things many consider dangerous, provocative, or intentionally reckless. And suddenly, what looked like one more viral controversy started feeling different. Because according to social media, this was not just about what Charleston said. It was about what may have happened after he said it. And that is where this story gets wild. Some fans believe Charleston crossed the line by targeting someone many consider deeply connected and widely respected. Others think this is just the latest example of internet drama being inflated far beyond reality. Nothing is confirmed. But unconfirmed reports suggest the timing of everything has people asking questions. Was this coincidence? Was this internet rumor spiraling out of control? Or did Charleston White's latest comments trigger consequences no one saw coming? Because once people started connecting the diss, the alleged incident, and whispers of possible behind-the-scenes reactions, this stopped looking like ordinary rap gossip and started looking like a mystery. One fan posted, "Charleston plays too much, and this time it may have caught up." Another wrote, "Or maybe social media is making up a movie again." That right there is the divide, because some people think this story may expose how serious certain lines in hip-hop culture still are, and others think this is another case of people turning speculation into headlines. But trust me, before you decide what happened, that you need to hear how this story started. Because if even half of what fans believe is true, this may be one of Charleston White's most controversial moments yet. The controversy began the way many Charleston White stories begin, with words, sharp words, provocative words, and comments that immediately got people talking. After Charleston White made remarks aimed at J. Prince Jr., reactions came fast because this was not seen by many fans as ordinary internet trolling. J. Prince Jr. carries a name that, rightly or wrongly, many in hip-hop associate with influence, loyalty, and serious weight in the culture. That is why some people think Charleston was stepping into different territory this time. Others believe he was doing what he has always done, saying controversial things to provoke reactions, but almost immediately, social media treated this moment as bigger than another online outburst. Fans began debating whether Charleston had crossed a line, and that question became the spark for everything that followed. The emotional stakes rose because Charleston White is not a figure people react to calmly. He often produces extreme responses, with some supporters praising him for saying what others will not say, while critics argue he deliberately invites chaos. That divide was already present before this situation. But once J. Prince Jr. became the subject of Charleston's comments, the tension changed. Some fans believe certain names in hip-hop carry consequences when publicly disrespected. Others strongly reject that thinking and say it romanticizes fear and myth. Still, the belief itself fueled the conversation. As people are divided because one side viewed Charleston's comments as reckless escalation, while the other saw yet another example of the internet exaggerating drama around controversial personalities. Then the rumors began. After online chatter linked Charleston's comments to reports of a personal incident involving him, speculation exploded. It is important to say clearly that nothing is confirmed regarding any connection between the comments and what people were claiming online. But that did not stop theories from spreading. Some people think the timing was too suspicious to ignore. Others believe social media took unrelated events and forced them into one dramatic narrative. But once those rumors started moving, fans began treating the controversy as something much darker than verbal back and forth. What began as debate over disrespect turned into questions about whether words may have led to consequences. And that is what made emotions run high. Social media is going crazy because people started revisiting Charleston White's long history of making enemies through public statements. Old clips resurfaced, past warnings people claimed he received were reposted. Fans began saying this moment felt different from his usual controversies. Others pushed back, arguing the internet says that every time Charleston trends. But whether people believed the theories or not, the sense of tension kept growing. One viral reaction claimed Charleston may have underestimated who he was speaking on. Another said the public was inventing a street drama fantasy around an internet personality. Those opposing reactions captured the split perfectly, and fans are shocked, but they do not agree on why. Then another layer pushed the story even further. Some social media users began focusing not only on Charleston's comments, but on whether there may have been private reactions behind the scenes. Some people think individuals connected to the culture may have taken notice. Others call that pure speculation with no evidence. Nothing is confirmed. But once people started imagining unseen responses, the story moved from public controversy into mystery. Was there any real reaction beyond online noise? Or were fans building an entire hidden narrative from rumor? That question became central because once the possibility of behind the scenes tension entered the conversation, every silence started being interpreted. What made the situation even more dramatic was the reputation surrounding both names involved. Charleston White thrives in controversy, while J. Prince Jr.'s name carries its own history of public perception. Whether those perceptions are fair or exaggerated, they shaped how people reacted. Some fans believe that Charleston knew exactly how serious the response would be when he made those comments. Others think he expected nothing more than another round of viral attention. But once rumors of a possible incident spread, people began looking at his original words differently. Some saw boldness, others saw miscalculation, and that shift made the controversy feel less like spectacle and more like a story with real stakes, even though nothing has been confirmed. Then came the first real twist. Some people began arguing the biggest mystery was not what may have happened to Charleston White, but whether the entire story was being manipulated by internet storytelling. According to this theory, social media may have taken a routine controversy, attached rumors to it, and created the illusion of deeper consequences where none existed. Others strongly rejected that, saying the timing and reactions felt too intense to dismiss. People are divided because both interpretations seem possible, and without verified answers, both continued gaining traction. Was this a genuine controversy with hidden layers, or a viral myth forming in real time? That uncertainty is what pushed the tension higher, because at this stage, there was no clear proof tying Charleston's comments to any larger consequence. but there was also no clarity strong enough to stop the speculation. And in hip hop culture, that space between rumor and silence often creates the biggest storms. Fans kept asking whether Charleston had entered a situation more serious than he expected. Others kept insisting the internet was manufacturing danger from coincidence. Nothing is confirmed. Yet the questions kept multiplying, and just as people settled into those competing theories, a new wave of reactions began spreading that made the controversy feel even harder to ignore. What pushed the controversy into another level was the way reactions stopped focusing only on what Charleston White said and started focusing on what people believed might be happening around him. Once rumors spread about a possible incident, social media moved from debate into full speculation mode. Every post, every repost, every vague comment from rap pages started being treated like a clue. Some people think the online reaction suggested real concern behind the scenes. Others believe the internet was doing what it often does, turning fragments into a dramatic storyline with no verified foundation. But once that shift happened, the controversy no longer felt like another viral Charleston White moment. It began feeling unpredictable, and that is when emotions ran even higher. Fans started revisiting old patterns, and this is where the story escalated fast. Some social media users pointed to previous moments when Charleston White made inflammatory comments and appeared unaffected afterward. They argued this time felt different because of who was involved. Others pushed back, saying people were romanticizing consequences without evidence. But once fans began comparing this situation to past controversies, the idea that something unusual might be happening gained momentum. One viral post claimed Charleston may have gone further than ever before. Another said the public was creating fear from internet mythology. People are divided because both interpretations were spreading at the same time, and no one had proof strong enough to settle the debate. Then came the first major twist. Some people think the rumored incident involving Charleston White may have had nothing to do with J. Prince Jr. at all, and that the internet simply forced two unrelated events into one dramatic narrative. That theory hit hard because it challenged the foundation of everything people had been assuming. When was the controversy built on coincidence? Was social media connecting dots that were never connected? Others rejected that immediately and argued the timing was too suspicious to ignore. Nothing is confirmed, but the possibility that the core theory itself might be wrong made the story even more intense. Because now the mystery was not just what happened, it was whether fans had misunderstood the story from the very beginning. That uncertainty only fueled more speculation. Some fans began looking at the silence from everyone involved as meaningful. No major public response, no dramatic back and forth, no clear attempt to address the rumors directly. For some people, that silence suggested something serious. For others, it simply reflected how internet controversies often burn out without acknowledgement. But when silence became part of the narrative, the suspense deepened. Social media is going crazy because in stories built on uncertainty, even the absence of information can feel like evidence. And that made every rumor carry more emotional weight than it otherwise might have. Then another theory emerged that changed the conversation again. Some people think the real issue was not whether Charleston White faced consequences, but whether his comments had exposed how much fear and mythology still surround certain names in hip hop. According to this view, the controversy was revealing something larger about perception itself. Some fans believe people reacted so strongly because certain figures are still seen as untouchable. Others say that interpretation only feeds exaggerated narratives. But once that theory spread, or the story stopped being only about Charleston White. It became a debate about how reputation and symbolism shape reactions in rap culture, and that made the emotional stakes even bigger. Then came whispers of possible behind the scenes concern. Some unconfirmed reports suggest people close to online commentary believed the reaction was becoming more serious than many expected. There's no verified proof of that, but the rumor alone sent the internet into another spiral. Because if even observers were allegedly taking the controversy seriously, some fans believed there had to be more happening than the public knew. Others dismissed that as speculation, feeding itself. But by then, even rumors about reactions to rumors were becoming part of the story. Fans are shocked because the controversy kept expanding rather than fading, when at the same time, another interpretation gained momentum that flipped everything upside down. Some people think Charleston White may have anticipated exactly this kind of reaction. According to that theory, the controversy itself may have become part of the spectacle, with public tension, mystery, and overreaction feeding the kind of attention Charleston often attracts. Others reject that completely and say treating everything as performance ignores the seriousness people believe may exist. But that possibility made the story even harder to define. Was Charleston caught in something bigger than expected? Or was the internet participating in a cycle he understands better than anyone? People are divided because both possibilities seem plausible depending on what you believe about Charleston himself. By this point, was the controversy had become much larger than a diss or a rumor. It had become a story about fear, reputation, internet storytelling, and whether public perception can create its own reality. Nothing is confirmed. There is still no verified proof connecting Charleston White's comments to any larger consequence, but the speculation had taken on a life of its own. Every theory seemed to create more questions. Was the timing meaningful or coincidence? Was silence suspicious or irrelevant? Was the controversy revealing real tension or exposing how quickly the internet builds mythology? Those questions kept spreading because no answer felt final. And just when it seemed the speculation had reached its peak, a deeper layer of rumor and reaction began emerging that made the situation feel even more unpredictable. As the controversy kept growing, is when the focus began shifting away from Charleston White's original comments and toward what the reaction itself might be revealing. Some fans believe the biggest story was no longer whether anything happened after he dissed J. Prince Jr., but why so many people immediately believed consequences were possible. That question changed the emotional weight of everything. Some people think the speed of that reaction says something about how reputation still shapes fear and perception in hip hop. Others believe it only shows how internet culture thrives on dramatic assumptions. But once that debate began, the story felt much bigger than one controversy. It became a conversation about why certain names still carry so much symbolic power. Then social media started focusing on the silence in a way that pushed the tension even higher, and no major public exchange unfolded. No direct statement resolved the rumors. No clear explanation emerged tying anything together or separating coincidence from speculation. For some people, that silence felt suspicious. They argued that when everyone stays quiet, it can make people believe something is happening beneath the surface. Others strongly rejected that, saying silence proves nothing and often reflects the fact that online rumors do not deserve acknowledgement. Nothing is confirmed. But once silence became central to the mystery, every lack of information seemed to generate even more interpretation. Social media is going crazy because the less people knew, the more theories seemed to multiply. And then a major twist entered the conversation when some fans began suggesting the controversy may have exposed something about Charleston White himself. Some people think this moment showed the limits of a style built on constant provocation. They believe even if no real consequence exists, the intensity of the reaction revealed how many people think there should be consequences when certain boundaries are crossed. Others say that idea confuses public opinion with reality. But once people began treating the controversy as a possible turning point in how Charleston is perceived, the story took on a deeper emotional layer. Fans are shocked because what began as another viral moment now looked, to some, like a possible test of how far controversy can go before it changes the public's view. Then another theory pushed things even further. Some social media users began claiming the real issue may not involve Charleston White or J. Prince Jr. directly, but the broader climate surrounding power and image in hip hop. Some people think the controversy resonated because audiences already believe there are unwritten lines in the culture, whether real or exaggerated, that people should not cross lightly. Others dismiss that as myth making, but once those ideas spread, the mystery became about more than a diss. It became about whether fans were reacting to one incident or projecting deeper beliefs about the culture itself. People are divided because every interpretation seems to reveal something, even if none can be proven. Then came whispers that made the situation feel even more unpredictable. Some unconfirmed reports suggest a few observers believed people behind the scenes may have been paying close attention to how the controversy was unfolding online. There is no verified evidence of any private reaction, but the rumor itself intensified speculation. Because if even the possibility existed that unseen reactions were happening, some fans believed the story had hidden layers still not visible to the public. Others dismissed that as classic internet conspiracy building on nothing. But once the idea of behind the scenes attention entered the conversation, the suspense deepened again. Every silence, every rumor, every vague social media post started attracting scrutiny. At the same time, another interpretation began gaining momentum that flipped everything upside down. But some people think Charleston White may have understood exactly how the internet would react, and that the controversy itself may have become part of a larger performance. According to this theory, the fear, mystery, and speculation surrounding possible consequences may be exposing how easily audiences create narratives stronger than facts. Others reject that and insist the emotional intensity around the story suggests something more serious may be at play. But that divide made the controversy even harder to define. Was Charleston caught in something real? Or was the internet building a myth around the possibility of danger? Fans are shocked because neither explanation fully cancels out the other. Then came what many considered the biggest twist so far. Some people think the controversy may not be about whether Charleston White faced consequences at all, but about how quickly public perception can create consequences of its own. According to this theory, even rumors of fallout can shape reputations, influence behavior, and create real tension regardless of what actually happened. Some believe that possibility makes the story much deeper than a simple controversy. Others think it overcomplicates a rumor-driven moment that should not be treated like cultural revelation. But once that idea spread, the story felt even bigger than before. Because now the mystery was not only about events, it was about perception as a force. By now, the controversy had become impossible to reduce to one explanation. Was this a serious situation hidden behind silence? Was it a viral myth created from coincidence and reputation? Was it exposing something about Charleston White's approach to controversy? Or something about how hip hop audiences respond to power? Nothing is confirmed. Yet all those possibilities remained alive because none had been definitively resolved. And just when many thought the speculation had reached its limit, another possibility emerged that threatened to change the narrative once again. Because some fans began saying the biggest twist might not be what happened after Charleston dissed J. Prince Jr., but what could happen if anyone involved ever addresses the controversy directly. And that possibility pushed the suspense to an entirely new level. Just when the controversy seemed like it could not become more unpredictable, the story took one final turn. A growing number of fans began arguing the biggest mystery was no longer what may have happened after Charleston White dissed J. Prince Jr., but why the controversy refused to fade. Most internet storms burn fast and disappear. This one kept evolving. New theories replaced old ones. Silence kept generating suspicion. And the absence of clear answers made the story feel even larger. Some people think that alone suggests there is more to this than ordinary viral drama. Others believe the only reason it continues is because social media keeps feeding speculation. But once the focus shifted from what happened to why the story would not die, the suspense reached another level. Then came a major twist that changed how some fans viewed everything. Some people think the controversy may have exposed not hidden consequences, one but the power of reputation itself. According to this theory, the intense reaction was driven less by facts and more by what people already believe certain names represent in hip hop. In other words, the fear, the rumors, and the mystery may have grown because audiences projected meaning onto the situation before evidence ever existed. Others reject that and say dismissing the reaction as perception ignores why so many people took the controversy seriously. But once that theory spread, the story began looking less like a mystery about Charleston White and more like a reflection of how power is imagined inside the culture. Then social media is going crazy, reached another peak when some fans began suggesting the biggest reveal may still be ahead. Some people think if anyone involved ever speaks publicly, even indirectly, and the entire narrative could change overnight. A statement could shut down the rumors, a comment could intensify them, even a vague response could trigger a whole new wave of interpretation. Others say expecting some dramatic revelation is exactly how internet myths keep growing. Nothing is confirmed, but the possibility of future clarity made the suspense feel unfinished in a way that kept people watching. Because in hip hop, unresolved stories often gain more power, precisely because they remain unresolved. That uncertainty opened the door to another interpretation that pushed the emotional stakes even higher. Some people think the controversy may have become bigger than Charleston White or J. Prince Jr. altogether. They believe it has turned into a story about how modern audiences process conflict through symbolism, fear, and speculation. Others say that overcomplicates what may have been simple online drama, inflated by rumor. But the fact that people could even argue those two possibilities shows how strange the controversy had become. Fans are shocked because a diss that might have passed like countless others somehow evolved into a broader debate about perception, power, and whether public narratives create their own kind of reality. Then another speculative twist made things even harder to resolve. Some unconfirmed reports suggest certain observers believe the controversy may have mattered precisely because no one took control of the narrative early. There is no verified evidence supporting that idea, but the rumor gained traction because many fans believe silence allowed the mystery to grow larger than facts. Others argue that theory romanticizes ordinary confusion. But once people began saying the lack of explanation may have created the controversy's power, the story entered even stranger territory, because now uncertainty itself was being treated by some as the central force behind the drama. At the same time, another theory gained momentum that flipped the narrative upside down. Some people think Charleston White may have exposed not hidden consequences, but how easily the internet turns possibility into perceived truth. According to this view, the biggest revelation is how quickly audiences can construct entire hidden narratives from timing, reputation, and rumor alone. Some believe that possibility is more revealing than any theory about private fallout. Others reject it and insist the emotional intensity surrounding the controversy suggests something deeper may still exist. People are divided because both interpretations feel possible depending on how much trust one places in public perception. And that divide is what kept the mystery alive. Then came the final crossroads. One path says Charleston White made controversial comments. Unrelated rumors emerged, and social media fused everything into a dramatic mythology. Another path says the timing, silence, and reactions point to layers the public still does not fully understand. A third path says the biggest exposure came from watching how fear, symbolism, and reputation shaped the story more than facts ever did. Nothing is confirmed, yet all three possibilities remain alive because no definitive answer has erased the others. And that unresolved tension is what gives the controversy its lasting power. So where does that leave the story now? For in a place of suspended meaning. Was this one of the internet's wildest overreactions, built from coincidence and cultural mythology? Was there something real hidden beneath the silence that fans instinctively sensed? Or did the controversy expose something even deeper about how hip-hop audiences understand power and consequence? Those questions remain because no final moment ever arrived to settle them. And maybe that is the biggest twist of all. The story never delivered certainty. It delivered ambiguity, powerful enough to keep people debating. And depending on what happens next, this may be remembered either as another viral storm fueled by rumor, or as a controversy where the biggest truth was hidden in what nobody could prove. Until then, the mystery remains open. And for many fans, and on that uncertainty is exactly why they still cannot look away. So now we're left with the biggest question of all. What really happened? Was Charleston White's diss toward J. Prince Jr. just another viral controversy that social media turned into a much bigger story? Or did fans pick up on something deeper, hiding beneath the rumors, the silence, and the timing of everything that followed? Because right now, nothing is confirmed. There is no verified proof tying Charleston's comments to any larger consequence. No official explanation, no clear answer. Just theories, reactions, and a mystery that keeps getting bigger the more people talk about it. Some people think this was one of the wildest internet overreactions we've seen in hip-hop. Others believe the intensity of the reaction says there may be more to this story than the public knows. And maybe that is exactly why people are so locked in. Fans are shocked, people are divided, social media is still going crazy, and the biggest questions remain unanswered. Was this all coincidence? Was this a story driven by fear and reputation? Or is there still a deeper layer nobody has uncovered yet? Now I want to hear from you. What do you think really happened? Did Charleston White take things too far? Did the internet build a myth out of rumors? Or do you believe this controversy means something much bigger? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now because I want to know where you stand. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you do not miss the next update if this story takes another unexpected turn. Because if anything new develops, you already know we'll be covering every twist.